Imagine this. You're standing at a gas station, middle of nowhere, 11 p.m. Your phone is at 3% battery. You've been driving for 6 hours and you're starving. You pull up to the pump, tap your card, declined. You try again, declined. You go inside, try a different card, same thing. The system is down. The ATM inside, also down. And you have exactly $0 in your wallet. What do? Most people watching this right now would be completely stuck. And before you say, that would never happen to me, it already happened to millions of people. February 2021, the Texas power crisis. August 2023, the nationwide banking app outages. October 2023, when Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America all had simultaneous technical failures. People couldn't buy food, couldn't pay for gas, couldn't do anything because they had no cash. And here's the thing nobody talks about. Those weren't extreme events, those were Tuesday. So today we're going to talk about why cash, actual physical paper money, is not outdated, not for old people, not for criminals, and not unnecessary. In fact, I'm going to make the case that not having cash is one of the most financially reckless things you can do in 2024. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly how much you should have, where you should keep it, and why the system you trust with your money is far more fragile than you think. Let's get into it. The illusion of digital money. Here's what nobody told you when contactless payments became the norm. Your money, the money you think you have, doesn't actually exist in a physical form most of the time. When you check your bank account and see $4,200, that's not $4,200 sitting in a vault with your name on it. It's a number, a digital entry, a promise. And promises, as history has shown us over and over again, can be broken, delayed, frozen, or just unavailable. We've been sold this narrative that digital is better, faster, cleaner, more efficient. And in many ways, it is. But we've completely forgotten to ask the question, what happens when digital fails? And digital fails more than you think. In 2023 alone, there were over 400 reported banking system outages in the United States. That's more than one per day. Every single day, somewhere in this country, someone couldn't access their money because a server went down, an update broke something, a cyber attack interrupted service. And every single one of those people who had no cash on them was completely helpless. We've built our entire financial lives on top of infrastructure that we don't control, don't fully understand, and cannot fix when it breaks. Your money is sitting behind a wall of technology, and that wall has cracks in it. Now, I'm not saying the banking system is about to collapse. I'm not a doomsday guy, but I am saying that the blind faith people have in digital payment systems is genuinely dangerous. It's the financial equivalent of never wearing a seatbelt because you've never been in an accident. The accident doesn't care about your track record. The system is more fragile than you think. Let me give you a real example that most people have already forgotten about. In March 2023, Silicon Valley Bank collapsed in 48 hours. One of the biggest banks in the country, gone in 2 days. And the only reason there wasn't a full-scale panic that spread to every other bank in America is because the government stepped in and guaranteed all deposits, even above the FDIC limit. They did it because they had to, because if they didn't, the domino effect would have been catastrophic. But here's what you need to understand. That intervention was not guaranteed. It was a choice, a political decision made under extreme pressure in the middle of the night. And next time, because there will be a next time, that choice might go differently. The FDIC insures your deposits up to $250,000. That sounds like a lot. But the FDIC's deposit insurance fund covers less than 2% of all insured deposits in the United States. Less than 2%. If 3 or 4 major banks failed simultaneously, The fund would be wiped out almost immediately. Then what? Again, I'm not predicting collapse. I'm saying the margin of safety is thinner than you've been led to believe, and smart people don't rely on thin margins. Max has talked about this before. The idea that financial resilience isn't about being paranoid, it's about being prepared. There's a massive difference between those two things. Paranoia is buying gold and moving to a bunker. Preparation is keeping a reasonable amount of cash at home because you understand how systems work and what happens when they don't. Cash gives you power in negotiation. Let's get away from the doom and gloom for a second and talk about something practical and immediate. Cash makes you a better negotiator, full stop. This is something wealthy people have always known and that the average person has completely forgotten. When you walk into a transaction with physical cash in your hand, you have leverage that you simply don't have with a card or a digital payment. And that leverage translates directly into money saved. Think about it this way. You're buying a used car from a private seller. They're asking $8,500. You show up with an envelope of cash, $7,500, and you put it on the table. Not digitally, not I can Venmo you. You physically put the money down. Studies have shown, and any experienced negotiator will tell you, that the sight of physical cash triggers a psychological response. It makes the deal feel real, it makes it feel immediate, and it dramatically increases the likelihood that the seller takes less money just to close the deal right now. This works at flea markets, garage sales, with contractors, with mechanics, with small business owners, with landlords. Anywhere there's a private transaction and room to negotiate, cash is king. And here's the financial side of it that people miss. When you pay in cash, you're not paying the 1.5% to 3% transaction fee that every card payment carries. On a big purchase, that's real money. On a $10,000 contractor job, 2.5% is $250. Cash saves both parties money, and a smart negotiator uses that as leverage to get a discount. Cash isn't just a payment method. It's a negotiation tool, and if you're never using it as one, you're leaving money on the table every single time. The psychology of cash. Now, let's talk about something that the credit card companies absolutely do not want you to know. You spend more money when you pay with a card. Not a little more, significantly more. This has been studied extensively by behavioral economists, and the results are remarkably consistent. When you hand over physical cash, your brain registers it as a loss. There's actual pain involved in parting with physical money. It's called the pain of paying, and it's a real psychological phenomenon. When you tap a card, swipe a card, or click Buy Now on your phone, that pain is almost completely eliminated. The transaction feels abstract, weightless. There's no tangible sense of loss because nothing physical left your hand. McDonald's ran their own internal studies. They found that people spend an average of 47% more when paying by card versus cash. 47%. That's not a rounding error, that's a completely different spending pattern. And this isn't just about fast food. It scales across every category of spending. Grocery stores, clothing retailers, online shopping. Everywhere the data is collected, the same pattern emerges. Cards make you spend more. Cash makes you spend less. So here's the practical takeaway. For your discretionary spending, going out to eat, entertainment, shopping, anything that isn't a fixed bill, try using cash for 1 month. Take out a set amount at the beginning of the week. When it's gone, it's gone. You will spend dramatically less, and you'll be more conscious of every single purchase you make. This isn't a radical idea. This is literally what personal finance experts have been recommending for decades. The envelope method, allocating cash to different spending categories, has helped millions of people get their finances under control. But in the age of just tap your phone, Most people have completely abandoned it. Trees. How much cash should you actually have? All right, let's get specific, because I don't want this to be a video that just tells you cash is good without giving you a real framework. There are two levels to this. The first is your emergency cash reserve at home. The second is your everyday carry cash. For your at-home reserve, the general recommendation from financial preparedness experts is to have enough cash to cover 1 to 2 weeks of essential expenses. Not your Netflix subscription, not your gym membership. We're talking food, gas, medication, and any critical household bills. For most people, this is somewhere between $500 and $2,000. The key word here is essential. If the power goes out, the internet goes down, and card payment systems fail for a week, and it has happened, what do you actually need to survive comfortably? That's the number you're aiming for. Keep it in small denominations, 10s and 20s, not hundreds. Because in an emergency, people may not be able to make change, and a $100 bill might as well be useless if the only store still operating can't break it. Store it somewhere safe, dry, and accessible, but not obvious. A small fireproof safe is a reasonable investment. Not under your mattress. That's the first place anyone would look. For your everyday carry, most people should have between $50 and $200 on them at any given time. Enough to handle a parking meter, a tip, a cash-only business, a sudden emergency, or a simple transaction where you want to negotiate. This doesn't mean carrying around a wallet stuffed with bills. It means being intentional, having a baseline, not walking around with $0 because my phone does everything. Cash and privacy. Here's one more angle on this that most people never think about. Every digital transaction you make is being tracked, every single one. Your card company knows what you bought, when you bought it, where you were, and how much you spent. That data is sold to advertisers, analyzed by algorithms, and in certain circumstances can be accessed by government agencies with the right legal authority. I'm not saying that to be conspiratorial. I'm saying that because it is factually, verifiably true, and most people have simply accepted it without ever consciously deciding they were okay with it. Cash transactions are private. When you hand someone a $20 bill, that transaction doesn't exist in any database. There's no record of it. You're not building a profile. You're not feeding the machine. Now, for most purchases, this doesn't matter. You don't care if Amazon knows you bought a book. But there are categories of spending where privacy is genuinely valuable. Medical purchases, gifts, personal decisions that are none of anyone's business. In those moments, cash isn't just convenient, it's protective. And on a bigger scale, a society where every transaction is digital is a society where every transaction can be monitored, restricted, or blocked by whoever controls the infrastructure. Central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, are being developed right now by dozens of governments around the world. China already has one. The EU is working on one. The US is exploring one. A CBDC is a digital currency issued directly by the central bank, replacing physical cash. And the thing that makes it different from what we have now is programmability. A CBDC could theoretically be programmed to expire after a certain date, to only be spent on approved categories, or to be frozen instantly if the government decides you've done something wrong. No bank involved, no intermediary. Direct control. Cash is the antidote to that level of control. As long as physical currency exists and you hold some of it, you have a degree of financial autonomy that no government or corporation can touch. The counter-arguments and why they're wrong. I know what some of you are thinking right now. So let me address the most common objections. Cash can be stolen. True. So can your credit card information. And that happens at a scale that makes physical theft look almost irrelevant. In 2023, Over 15 million Americans were victims of identity theft, card skimmers, data breaches, phishing attacks. Your digital money is not as safe as you think. The difference is that when your card is compromised, someone can drain your entire account instantly. When cash is stolen, the loss is limited to what you had on you. Cash isn't covered if lost. Also, true, which is why you don't carry your entire net worth in your pocket. You keep a reasonable amount. We talked about the numbers. The risk is manageable and proportionate. Card rewards make cards better. This one's interesting. Yes, cashback rewards and travel points have real value, and I'm not saying stop using your credit card entirely. I'm saying use cash strategically, particularly for discretionary spending where the psychological spending reduction will more than offset any reward points you'd earn. The math almost always favors cash when you account for the behavioral component. Cash is dirty/inconvenient. This is the laziness argument dressed up as a hygiene concern. You touch a touch screen at every checkout anyway, and inconvenience is a feature, not a bug. The slight friction of using cash is exactly what slows down your spending. What rich people actually do. Here's something interesting that I want you to sit with for a second. Ultra high net worth individuals, people with $50 million, $100 million more, almost universally maintain significant liquidity, not just in savings accounts, but in actual liquid assets they can access immediately without going through any intermediary. They do this not because they're scared of banks. They have teams of people managing their banking relationships. They do it because they understand that optionality is valuable. The ability to move fast, to pay immediately, to act without waiting for a system to process a transaction, that's worth something. It's always worth something. And at your level, at the level of someone who's building their financial life, maintaining a cash reserve is your version of that optionality. It's your ability to handle an emergency without going into debt. Your ability to take advantage of an opportunity without waiting 3 to 5 business days for a transfer to clear. Your ability to function when the systems that everyone else depends on go down. Cash is a form of financial independence. It's small scale, but it's real. The simple action plan. Let's wrap this up with something concrete, because information without action is just entertainment. This week, do 3 things. 1. Go to your bank and withdraw your starting cash reserve. Based on your essential weekly expenses, calculate what 1 to 2 weeks of basics cost you. Withdraw that amount in mixed denominations, mostly 20s, some 10s, a handful of 5s. You'll put it somewhere safe at home. 2. For the next 30 days, use cash only for your discretionary spending. Going out, entertainment, shopping, anything that isn't a fixed bill. Set a weekly cash budget. Put it in an envelope. Watch what happens to your spending. 3. Make sure you always have at least $50 to $100 on your person. Not tucked away in your car, not in a drawer at home, on you. Because emergencies don't give you time to go get your cash first. That's it. 3. Steps. None of them are complicated. None of them require you to distrust banks or go off the grid or make any dramatic lifestyle change. They just require you to be slightly more prepared and slightly more intentional than the average person. And if the last few years have taught us anything, it's that being slightly more prepared than the average person makes an enormous difference when things go sideways. Cash isn't outdated. Cash isn't for criminals. Cash isn't for people who don't trust technology. Cash is for anyone who understands that systems fail, that psychological spending patterns are real, that negotiation leverage matters, that privacy has value, and that financial resilience isn't something you build after a crisis. It's something you build before one. You don't need to hoard it. You don't need to be paranoid about it. You just need to have some. A thoughtful, intentional amount, kept in the right places, used strategically. The people who will be fine. When the next outage hits, when the next bank has a bad day, when the next storm knocks out power for a week, they already have their cash. They set it aside quietly, long before anyone was panicking. Don't be the person standing at a gas station at 11 p.m. with a dead phone and a declined card wondering what went wrong. Be the person who already thought about this, who already acted. If this video gave you something useful, drop it in the comments. Tell me how much cash you're keeping and why. See you in the next video. Oh.